The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Speaking podcast. Recording this on a Thursday at about 5 o'clock-ish p.m. for the Friday show. How you guys doing? I like to keep the Friday episodes typically as close to time sensitive as possible. We'll be dropping this like pretty much Friday morning, probably at 9 a.m. or midnight. I don't know exactly what time I'm gonna drop it. But how you guys doing? It is the Friday show, of course, here on the podcast. Lots to talk about today on the podcast. For example, and the main thing we'll talk about here is, I know I've been avoiding politics talk for the last couple, like almost a year now, but Kamala Harris has a new book that's just come out. And some excerpts in there I really wanted to actually talk about on the show today. But to get to that, of course. Why am I excited about NBA this coming up? The NBA season hasn't started yet. I know they had media day. I think the first media day, I think 2 days ago. But I'm not excited about the season. And of course, the Pro Football Hall of Fame nominees have been released for the 2026 potential class. Actually, we'll run through some of the names that they that came out with. But I got to tell you, man, on a personal level, I've been dedicated to, you guys have followed the last couple months now. I've been keeping a consistent schedule of dropping content on the feed, Monday through Friday, dropping shows. Sometimes there'll be days you'll see double pods that day. I'm trying to do this where I'm consistent, putting out content between Monday and Friday. I got to tell you though, it is not easy though. It is not easy because you're working on a schedule where, yes, I do have more space than I ever had since becoming a dad. I do have space to record. And a lot of shows I do pre-record, which is I've utilized that now even more than I ever have really in my life. But it's not easy mentally too, also because sometimes there's just days I just don't want to record. But people listen to this content, people enjoy the content, and I've been staying consistent as possible. A quick announcement here. We're starting a new series on the show. It may be a series, basically be a regular thing going forward. That I dubbed EJ Loves the Internet. It's going to be a show I do every Monday. That I basically talk about things that I saw on the internet, things I saw, which could be a video, it could be a meme, it could be something I read, and something to react to. It's kind of like sort of like a B-side in a sense though, because yes, we do react to things on that we see in the current events on this show. We do that today, for example. But I can't react to everything, so this will allow me a space to find little things I can react to. It doesn't require a deep dive either, you know what I'm saying? But I already recorded the first episode, but you won't see it until Monday. But I had a good time doing it. I actually wanted to do this with a co-host, but I started realizing that it might be difficult to get somebody to commit to doing it every week. And quite frankly, I already have, Rob doing False Count Anywhere. He's just degenerate. You got the random guests coming to the show. Want to have the NBA show at some point later in the season with Greg Harinya. So we already have things in place now. I do love where the show is going. I do love the show where it's going. But in the schedule has helped me because there's a scheduling part of it where I record these shows and hoping they're evergreen enough to put them out. And I have selective days to put them out, and in a lot of ways it does help me because, for example, with the schedule I have right now, where I record, I pretty much have about 4 days off of recording. Think about it. I record most of my material on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Occasionally, I'll do the weekends. I'll use the weekend. I try to avoid it because I like to use the weekends for my family. Football's back too, especially. I'm locked in on there. I'll keep space for an emergency podcast, maybe a reaction podcast to a WWE PLE or a big event. I'll do a live stream. I started doing live streaming on Sundays during the 4:00 sessions on here. So I am pretty active, and I try to keep that. I try to keep it as simple as possible. But when you're recording all of your shows on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, you're cramming a lot of material into a few days. Now, it is easy. I mean, it looks easy when you put it in context and in schedule. But again, there are some days where I just don't want to get record. Like today, I recorded I just recorded the first episode of EJ Loves the Internet, and I had to stop in the middle of the show to go pick up my kids, and then came back finish the episode. And to be honest, I was tired. I didn't want to do it. I took a nap, and after I took a nap, I was like, okay, I feel good now. And I still had to come in here and also do this show too, also because again, this is the main show. This has to be every Friday. It's out. I can't record on Fridays because I'm typically working on my day job. So that's why I do it the way I do it, because we're doing all this around a work schedule, spend time with my wife, my kids, and then let's be real. I love podcasting. I really do. But I don't want to be behind a fucking microphone all day long. You know what I'm saying? Every day. I want to be out to be able to go have dinner with friends and go to the gym, which I did. Today worked out today, did a nice 2-mile walk. Do things that outside of that and keep a nice balance. So I have it. So, and as long as I stay in the pocket of those things, I'll be okay. You know what I mean? So, but is it challenging? Yes. Am I enjoying it? Yes. Also. So, anyway, speaking of in the NBA, I mentioned a while ago. NBA is my favorite league. But I am not excited about the season coming up. I know we had media day, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. By the way, did you see Zion Williamson? He looks great. He lost a lot of weight. We'll see if that translates into him staying healthy. Number one, can the Pelicans find a way to actually win some games? But the upcoming season is not exciting at all. Unlike the last couple of years, and especially in the Eastern Conference, like there's nothing. You have Boston, who won't have Jason Tatum this year. Indiana won't have Tyrese Halliburton this year. No, Milwaukee got rid of Dame Lillard, who was missing a year anyway. It just feels dull this year. Too many damn injuries. I'm not excited about it. And sometimes when you're not excited about it, then maybe it's a good thing. Maybe that you lower your expectations to what you expect for the year, and it's helping the bigger picture. We will see that works out. Hopefully there are new stars created this year. Hopefully we have some fresh contenders. I doubt that we'll have obviously Boston and Indiana will be on the paint for a year now because due to the injuries of their stars. But in the Western Conference is stacked up. But then also they have new injuries now. Fred VanVleet for the Houston Rockets, he's out for the year now with a torn ACL. Okay, that's a big piece of the Houston Rockets there. So who are probably the biggest challenger to the OKC Thunder, in the West, and so you have all that. It's just sad, bro. I'm not looking forward to it. And honestly, they really need to make some modifications to the rules. They need to allow some sort of hand checking, some more physical play. I love 3-point shooting. I don't need to see 63 pointers in the game. I just don't. Seriously. So we need to mix it up. Bring back the post game. Bring back the mid-range game. These kids are just chucking up every day, and it's even as a guy who loves NBA basketball, I'm getting tired of it. I am. Week 4 is upon us. I'll tell you what. Obviously, the biggest game of the weekend is Ravens Chiefs. Who would have thought both those teams are, 1 and 2, and facing 1 and 3. Obviously, the loser in this game. But I got to tell you, even with that fact, this game is not a must-win for either of these teams. This game is not a must-win for either of these teams at all. Here's why: the AFC is terrible right now. If what we see right now through 3 weeks in the AFC, if this is what we're going to see moving forward, the Chiefs are in it, and so the Ravens. Look, here's the deal: in the case of the Ravens, yeah, you have the Steelers 2-1, so the Bengals, but the Steelers don't look good. They look terrible. The Steelers could be easily 0-3 right now, easily 0-3. Okay, you had the first game, and the Jets should have won that game. It wasn't for a 6-yard field goal. Okay, and then last week, the pass turned the ball what 5 times, 2 of them on the goal line. The Steelers could be easily 0-3. Okay. Then you have, and then the Bengals, of course, not having Joe Burrow. Okay. They don't have Joe Burrow until December. And what we saw against Minnesota is a sign things come, they are in trouble. That defense looks terrible. The O-line looks even worse. Okay. So the Ravens will still catch ground. They will still catch ground. They'll win the division, and we'll go from there. They're still Super Bowl contenders. The Chiefs. Now, I don't think the Chiefs will win the AFC West this year. I think the Chargers are the class of that division this year. They're already 3-0 in the division. They're already 3-0. All 3 wins in the division to beat the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Broncos already this year. Okay, it's already shaped to be the Chargers here to at least win the AFC West. However, when you look past all the contenders in the AFC, obviously I mentioned, I think on Tuesday, that if I'm looking at some contenders in the AFC, you're looking at the still Ravens, the Bills, and the Chargers. I'm not there in the Colts yet. I'm not there in the Colts just yet. Okay, I got to see more big games against the Rams this weekend. That'll go a long way in framing that picture for me. But there's only 3 teams. Who else in the AFC scares you? As bad as the Chiefs look this year, who else in the AFC scares you? Nobody does. Houston stinks this year. Denver's overrated. Okay, throw me a team. Throw me a team in the AFC, and I'll tell you that they're not a serious team. So I still expect, even if the Chiefs go down 1-3 this year, this weekend rather, I still expect Andy Reid and company, Pat Mahomes and company, to get to the playoffs. Plus, they are going to get healthier. Xavier Withers should be back, I think, this week or next. Rasheed Rice, the other receiver, should be back. And a little bit counts. Any weapon that can help Mahomes will count and will go a long way. And not for nothing, it's not like they suck. Their defense is still really good. They just can't move the ball or score the ball. But when you get those pieces back, it's going a long way. So believe me, I think both those teams are going to be fine. They can go 1-3, be okay. Honestly, this is the year I think we're going to see an 8-9 team this year in the AFC get into the wild card, which keeps the door open for the Chiefs. That simple. Just that simple. So anyway, the NFL, well, should I say the Pro Football Hall of Fame, has released its nominee list for the 2026 a campaign. What do you call it? 2026 potential entries, enterers, what do you call that? First-time eligible players include, of course, at quarterback, you have Drew Brees, you have Phillip Rivers and Alex Smith, Frank Gore and LaShawn McCoy as running backs. You have a receiver, Larry Fitzgerald. He should get in easy. By the way, Brees should get in. I think Rivers will not get in on the first ballot. Frank Gore is on the fence there. Tight ends, you got Jason Witten and Greg Olsen. I think Witten may get in on the first ballot. You got David DeCastro, Marcus Pouncey. You have Geno Atkins, Jarrell Casey, Thomas Davis. A couple guys that may get in, not necessarily the first ballot. We'll see. Other notable nominees, got Eli Manning, of course, who missed it out last year. Might get in this time around. Dominic McNabb, Randall Cunningham. You got Fred Taylor, Marshawn Lynch, Chris Johnson. Again, receivers, you got Torrey Holt, who I'm stunned he's not in there yet. Steve Smith Jr., not in yet. Should be getting in soon. Reggie Wayne, I'm surprised he's not in here. Anquan Bolden, Chad Ochocinco. Obviously, you got offensive lineman Willie Anderson, Jari Evans, Matt Burke, Nick Mangold. Linebackers, got Luke Kuechly, who should get in this time around. Terrell Suggs as well. James Harrison should get in as well, too. Clay Matthews the third. The DBs, Darren Woodson, Ronnie Harrison, Troy Vincent. Kickers, Adam Vinatieri, Jason Hansen. And it's a punter, Shane Lackler. So obviously this list will be narrowed down in the coming months. The final class will be announced in early 2026. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the list will be announced at Super Bowl weekend, actually. And of course, the induction will be in August of 2026 when they do the first preseason game. So my guess is Drew Brees is a shoe-in to get in, definitely. Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald are definitely the shoe-ins of the first ballots. Definitely the shoe-ins, okay? There's a case for Jason Witten. There's a case for, looking on the list here, other guys here, Geno Atkins, maybe. Thomas Davis, definitely. That's your case in. But my two shoe-ins definitely Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald. Definitely my two shoe-ins here. So, all right. What else on the docket here we got to talk about here? Oh, yeah. So the main thing I want to talk about here, Kamala Harris has a new book. It's called 107 Days. It's like this episode's podcast. I'm thinking of buying it, actually. Now, you guys know I don't care for Kamala Harris. I've never liked her. I've been one of her bigger critics. Even though I did vote for her in the election. I voted for her with Biden in 2020, and I voted for her in the election in 2024. But as I've told you through the years, like when I voted against Donald Trump, not for someone. I voted for a president in 3 cycles. Okay, the last president I voted for was Barack Obama. I haven't voted for anyone. I voted against someone to get in the office. Okay, but I gotta tell you, this book, which just came out, I think this week. You hear some of the excerpts and some things that's come out since then. She's doing a media tour now of the book. I'm sure I'll probably play some clips down the road, if not on this show, certainly on the EJ Loves the Internet episodes, maybe. I gotta tell you, some of these clips are pretty fascinating to the point where now I want to buy this book. So a couple things here, and about her relationship with Joe Biden in the campaign. Harris writes that she was angry and disappointed by some of the Joe Biden's actions, including a phone call that he had made to her minutes before a debate with Donald Trump. She also suggests that Biden's inner circle was reckless in pushing him to run for re-election, and that his age showed in physical and verbal stumbles. Basically confirming everything that people like myself and others, Mark Francois on this podcast, had said for years, that he is not viable. Even if he's doing a good job, the optics matter in politics. I'm sorry. I got into fights with Rob the Genius on the show about this, and he's like swore that Biden, and I'm not disagreeing that Biden did not do a solid job, but if you want to have a chance in hell in this climate to get reelected, you have to show that you're competent. And unfortunately, all the optics got in the way of the actual policy. Okay, and we said the Democrats need to look. The only reason they pulled Joe Biden out of the race was because the donors cut off the money. It took Joe Biden embarrassing himself on the debate stage. Okay. And then the donors saying, well, we're not going to commit to it now. Before they pull the plug. And they're lucky that the debate was that early, because normally the debates don't happen until like in September and October. The fact was that there was a debate planned in June, might have saved them. I mean, it didn't matter anyway because they still lost. But I still say that had Biden stayed in the race, he would have done worse against Trump than Kamala did, honestly. In terms of marginalization within the administration, the book describes her frustration with being sidelined in the White House and feeling that her work was not properly defended against media attacks. She writes that she felt she couldn't advise Biden to drop out of the race because it was seen as a poisonous disloyalty and incredibly self-serving. So this is the problem with people in politics. Do you want yes men around you or not? This gives you a little bit of an insight about how the world works in politics. And by the way, this is not the Biden administration. This is I would argue a large part of the Trump administration acts the same way, that they're scared to approach Donald Trump because Trump is certain behaviors and what he does and how he acts. What are we doing here? Like, you are supposed to, it's frustrating because like these people, elected officials, should be able to approach a president and tell him X, Y, and Z. Okay? And be honest and truthful to a fault. And it can't be. Because again, the reason why is if they're not, they lose access to power. And even Kamala Harris herself, yeah, she's admitting this now, but it would have been braver to do this in real time when you were in power as Vice President of the United States. Okay? So this makes her look bad anyway, to be honest with you. In terms of campaign shortcomings, Harris points to a lack of time as a major obstacle, with her campaign being the shortest presidential campaign in modern history. She also expresses her dismay at a fumbled debate performance by the running mate, Tim Walz. All right. In terms of the tourist, yeah, the time didn't help. I would argue the short time probably in some ways did help because people had to decide quickly, and it gave her and Tim Walz less time to fuck up, if you will. In many ways, that actually might have helped them, actually, because it kept them focused and, okay, 107 days, let's go. The debate performance of Tim Walz, I thought he did fine. I just thought JD Vance was really good too. Like, you don't have to like JD Vance to know how well optics. JD Vance did very well in that performance. I think people are discrediting how good he was in that. I thought Walz did fine. Walz did look nervous at first, but once we got to talk about policy, it was fine. So I disagree with that part there. All right, what else here? and this is the big one, the big takeaway here, a dilemma about who should be her running mate. Harris reveals that her first choice for running mate was actually Pete Buttigieg, but she had nagging concerns that having a ticket with a black woman and a gay man was too big a risk for the American electorate to accept at the time. The sentiment was drawn criticism from Buttigieg and others. Okay, again, I might have lost some a little bit of the feed there. Again, criticism about having a black woman and a gay man was too big a risk for the electorate at the time. Of course, this is criticized by Pete Buttigieg and others. Here's the thing about that, and I've actually gone to a couple discussions with some friends of mine who talk politics all the time. She's not wrong. Like, personally, I would have liked Buttigieg to have been a VP. Although I want him all ultimately. But because of the small, short window they had to work with, and let's face it, while we are a progressive country, we have continued to be progressive in a lot of ways. There's still an ignorant part of this country, and guess what? It ain't just the Republicans, buddy. There are a lot of Democrats who look at a gay man and a black woman and say, "Nah, I'm good." Okay, I'm sorry. It's out there, and it ain't just Republicans, buddy. Hate to break it to you. Wise up on that one. It was risky to do that at that time. They had to get all their ducks in a row immediately. Okay, there was no time to sit and ponder. Okay, remember the switch was made in middle of July. Okay, literally a month before the Democratic National Convention. Okay, you didn't have any time, and not only that, they were already down in the polls as it was, big to Donald Trump. Okay, Kamala at least shorten the gap, because I still say, had Joe Biden stayed in the race, Trump probably gets close to 350 electoral votes, not 312. Okay, I think that the race was competitive because of Kamala Harris, honestly. In terms of the sentiment, he has right to be pissed about that, as he should. All these things we're reading here, honestly, only confirms that all these politicians are fucking spineless. They're all spineless. Okay, so you wrote a book. You're admitting it now. Cool. I think her political career is done, because this book is a bridge burner. Okay, I think she made a decision that I'm not president again. Probably there was rumors about her running for governor for California, and she pulled out of that. I think she said, "I'm done. I'm just going to live my life. I'm going to write books and whatever, and maximize what I can now." She's already in her 60s. She doesn't need to do anything. She has all the money in the world she needs. She can make money consulting and work behind the scenes. This book is a bridge burner. In a way, I feel bad for her too, also, because, I'm sure it is harder, even in the Democratic Party. It is probably this tough to be a black woman and having to find your voice, and you're not being utilized in the way you should. All these things that we're seeing that were rumored for those 4 years, that people saying, "Oh, no big deal," she's confirming now the Biden stuff. They're not being utilized to help an administration. Okay, the shortcomings in the campaign, everything, all the things that we were all critical of, that other Democrats saying, "Oh, that's not a big deal," she's now confirming. Now what? Again, this is why I keep telling you guys, your party doesn't give a fuck about you. Stop treating these parties like they're family, because they won't even piss on you if you're on fire. And I'm talking about both parties. Okay, this is what I've been saying for years. I would rather have ranked choice voting. Okay, I hate both these parties. I really do. I vote Democrat mainly because of the fact that they are lesser in terms of policy. They're lesser of the two. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. So I'm going to buy this book, and I'll tell you why. I have Audible, and I've racked up a bunch of credits through the last year or so. I have like 3 credits to burn, and there are really no other books I'm clamoring for. In fact, some of the books I have my wish list to go buy are on, I can get for free on the my library audiobook I use all the time. See, this is me being frugal and being, not cheap, but frugal. Unless it's a book I really want to buy, for example, what I do is I always check first at the library, see if the book is there for free. A lot of times they're available already. And if they're available for free, I'll order the book through the library. Okay? If it's a book that if it's a book I can't buy for free and it's something I'm not going to see in the library for a while and I really want it, like this book, for example, I'm going to buy it and use the credit. So I have about 3 credits left on Audible to use. I'm going to burn it. Because I'm really curious about all the details in there. And if I read more takeaways that outside of what I've said here on the show, I will definitely bring it up on the show. But anyway, that's it for me on the Friday show. Dated September 26, 2025. I'm on X at EJ Christian 7. Earnestly podcast for all podcast catchers, especially on the audio side. Video side at Earnestly Pod on YouTube. Check out the YouTube page, guys. We are closing in on 500 subscribers. Also, TikTok and Instagram at Earnestly Pod. I need some water. I had a wing, and I think something in my throat. So, talk guys later. Love you guys. God bless y'all. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy football weekend. Week 4 NFL, college football, banging. Baseball playoffs are on the corner. Look out for that. Later.